Hey, TNE fans, we are here today with one of the most renowned comedian, actor, producer, host out there, Tanjareen Thomas. You asked for it, you got her, guys. Tanjareen, introduce yourself to the audience of TNE Magazine.
Hey, folks at TNE Magazine. I'm Tanjareen. Thanks for having me on.
Now, Tanjareen, we decided to have you in our No Limit New Year's issue just for the simple fact that you got so much stuff going on. Just elaborate a little more about some of the things that you got, the fires that you got cooking for this 2017.
Oh, okay. For 2017, that will be my 5th season on a sitcom called Family Time. It airs on the Bounce Network, and it stars Omar Gooding and Angel Conwell, and I play Angel Conwell's lipstick lesbian sister. And that one is also airing season 4 right now, every Tuesday on Bounce. Then I have a new series coming out called Famous in Love. It'll be on the Freeform channel in April, also airing on Tuesdays, and that's starring Bella Thorne. She's a Disney star who is now grown up and has done Playboy and 15 million followers on Instagram, and I think she's in the movie Step Up. But anyway, that comes out in April, and it's a really good 1-hour drama. And then I did a romantic comedy, urban comedy called Christopher Nolan's Zodiac Sign, and that will be starting to air on BET in January. And then I have a web series coming out on a new streaming site called A Girl is a Gun that I'm in, and that starts airing in February.
Yeah, so much new awesome stuff. So the one that's going to be aired in on BET this month for January's issue, tell them a little more about that series and how to be able to watch that.
Oh, sure. That's a romantic comedy feature film starring Karen Ward-Ross and Tammy Townsend. And Tammy Townsend, you see her on the show with Zendaya as Zendaya's mom, Casey Undercover. She's a great actress. And we also have some really delicious-looking men like Brad James in the movie. I play Christopher Nolan's wife, who's also the director of the movie. And it's just, you know how everybody thinks about the zodiac signs, like, oh, I can't date no Gemini because they crazy, or, oh, Scorpios are all about the sex, whatever. So they made a movie about looking for love based on zodiac signs. So it's really cute. We shot it in Chicago in the summer, right next door to where R. Kelly used to live. So that was kind of funny to me. And I'm excited to see people see it on BET. It'll be on all month in January. It might be also on the Centric channel as well, and then it'll be available on DVD and VOD after that.
Now, that's awesome. Now, you also are wrapping on the 4th season of A Family Time, like that you said, that's on Bounce. You said you playing the lipstick lesbian. Now, how hard is that? Now, I know that one of the things that you do to stay in shape is you box, and that's why you look so amazing.
Thank you.
So you have to channel your inner boxer. Like, how do you? Because you know, it's so many misconceptions about African American women and homosexuality, and I don't want to get too deep into it, but just tell the viewers a little bit about your role on that particular show, Family Time, and how you channel that character and some of the issues that kind of are plaguing our community as African American people, and how you kind of make a good time out of that in that movie.
Yeah, that's a great question. It's funny because, 1, I do box, but 2, lipstick lesbians are the feminine kind. They're the ones who wear the high heels. They're not the butch ones who act like boys or anything. They really take being pretty personally. They really work hard at being glamorous. And I have a lot of friends who happen to be lipstick lesbians, so that's kind of what I pull from when I dress. And, my cute little leggings and heels or riding boots and sexy tops, because the lipstick lesbians I know in real life, they're always trying to be real pretty and sexy and feminine. And I just think that our show came out in 2010, and that was before we had all of these newer shows with the gay characters, like on ABC, Shonda Rhimes. She has a lot of gay characters in her shows, and you see it on the show Scandal and the show How to Get Away with Murder and different things like that. Our show was doing it way before these shows, and it was kind of taboo because a lot of heavy-hearted black Christians don't want to see anything about homosexuality, and because it's a family show, I don't have any love-making scenes, and I don't have to French kiss any women or anything. So we play it pretty safe. But at the same time, I'm proud that I get to represent that community because they do exist, whether you like them, whether you think they're going to burn in hell or not. They're there. They've been there since the beginning of time, and they need a voice. So I get to flirt with women. I get to be sassy and funny and flirty with the lady guest cast that we have on the show. I had a girlfriend in season 3 that was fun to play around with. So, I love the responsibility of it, but at the same time, we play it pretty safe.
Well, yeah, that's good. And that's one of the things that, I noticed about the show. Like you said, you guys were cutting edge on really giving people of this lifestyle a voice. Now, I have no affiliations with lesbian women, with no disrespect. Like, it's just like I'm from the Midwest. I'm from Cleveland, Ohio. And not to say that they don't exist in the Midwest, and but it's just like, it's always been like a very strong defining line. But I notice out here in Hollywood, it's much more promoted. So it's like, is it hard to find roles? Because you've been doing this for a long time. I mean, I remember the first thing that I saw with you in, I know it wasn't your first actual role, but the first thing where I actually recognized you was when you were in Curb Your Enthusiasm, which was one of my favorite shows back on HBO.
Yeah, it's coming back. Season 8 is started shooting already, so
I know that blew my mind. I was driving down Melrose the other day, and I seen Larry David, and almost hit the brakes, like Larry David. But I was like, but yeah, they're coming back. They're coming back, and I love that show. And they had one of our favorite comedians in it. He was also in Almost Christmas.
J.B. Smooth, yeah.
Yes, love him. Love him.
He and I were friends years ago, and I always would go to his comedy shows and laugh so hard from the gut till tears came out of my eyes because he just takes a joke and goes further and further and further. And then when you think you're done laughing at it, he'll just keep milking it. And to see how far his career has come now, it just makes me so proud. So when I booked Curb Your Enthusiasm off of an audition and got to work with him, I was like, oh, my God, this is so cool. This is so much fun. We actually had another scene on that episode that it didn't make the cut because there's so much ad-libbing that goes on. It's a completely unscripted show. So by the time we got, by the time they finished editing it, they realized they didn't need that other scene. But he's just so funny. And Curb Your Enthusiasm is a brilliant show, and I'm so glad that Larry David is bringing it back.
Yeah, me too. So, I really asked you that question to kind of go into, like, you've been doing this for a long time. You're not a new kid on the block. You've been at this acting, hosting, comedy lifestyle for a while. What are some of the different things that you do to stay motivated, to keep going out there, to get casted and to stay promoted? And what advice do you have for new actors or people who are trying to get more involved with acting and theater as far as their confidence when they go into these casting calls?
Great question. To stay motivated, I guess it's easy for me because I don't have a plan B. Like ever since I was 6 years old, I knew that I wanted to be an actor when I did my first play in elementary school. And so it's not like I'm a real estate agent or a teacher and then I said, let me try acting for 6 months, and if I don't book anything, I'll get back to my regular job. No, this is my regular job. I love doing it. I get so much satisfaction from even just the audition process. My advice to anyone that wants to do this industry or is already doing it that's frustrated is to enjoy the whole journey. Don't look at it as, I didn't book that, I'm a failure, I'm terrible, because there's a lot of factors that go into getting the job. The producer's niece may be the one that booked it, and maybe they loved your acting, but they promised the producer, we'll let your niece be in it because you're giving us $2 million of budget, so you never really know why you don't get it. But if you consider the audition as part of the fun, I get to dress up and be this character today. Oh, my goodness, I get to play this role today. Oh, I got 2 auditions in 2 different parts of town. I got to get across the freeway. How fun will it be for me to throw a wig on while I'm driving in traffic and get over here and be this character with this accent and then get over here and be this character that came out of the 1970s? Like, when you consider the whole thing as part of your acting job and how fun it is and when you really enjoy the journey, you stay motivated, you don't get frustrated. And then my third piece of advice is the book, The 4 Agreements, by Don Miguel Ruiz. One of the agreements is don't take things personally. So if you don't take it personally that you didn't book it, and you don't take it personally when you do book it, everything is great no matter which way that it goes. Like Buddhists believe, there's no good or bad, everything just is. When you get that mindset, you can have a good time and be excited and be grateful no matter what happens in your career, in your health, in your relationships, in your life. And that's the kind of mindset that I have. So it's easy to stay motivated. It's easy to continue to have fun when I'm thinking that way.
And I can't agree with you more. That's the only way that you should think and act in every aspect of your life, whether you're an actor or you're a librarian. You want to get up every morning, love what you do, and get out there and do it and be excited and enthusiastic about it. I couldn't agree with you more. What are also some things, because you work with so many different personalities. I love that you're doing this Zodiac thing, because I am a believer in the Zodiacs and personalities. I don't know if you've ever read the 5 Love Languages by Gary Chapman. But,
of course. I love that book.
I love that book.
Yes, I live by it because, I'm married, so I have to make sure that we are communicating the right way and making sure that we are expressing love the way that the other person needs to have it expressed, for sure.
There's no more majestic way that you can say that. And I feel like I use that in a lot of different ways in my work environment. How are some of the different ways when you work with different personalities, do you take some of those previous lessons from people's zodiacs and how they receive or retain information to heart when you're working with people so that you have a better work environment so you can be your best self on set?
I think it all comes down to who I am as a person, and that goes with anybody that's acting. If you're a person who's already centered and balanced and finds your own joy, then when you get to work and you're working with somebody who's a diva or who's bitchy, or maybe you're working with someone who's snorting coke right in front of you and offering you some, you don't succumb to peer pressure. You don't get mad about mood swings. You don't get jealous of somebody having more lines than you or messing up their lines and making everybody, have to redo the scene again and again. Things just kind of fly off your back or roll down your shoulder, however you say it, when you're centered. And so that starts with you doing these types of readings. I don't even know if I even consider zodiac sign when I'm working, but I guess I should have, because there are certain signs that work well together. And I know that even I'm a Gemini, and I married a Taurus. And when I looked up our birthdays in my birthday zodiac book, it said we shouldn't ever love each other. We should work together. And I was like, oh, my bad. But we've been married.
Well, no, actually, because Taurus men are big family people. So if they find somebody who's fine with the vision and they respect you for who you are, their main concern is what they have to do to make their family work. So if they accept you for who you are,
right.
And see, that's why I feel like there's different elements and bits and pieces you can pick from it. You shouldn't take your whole life around it, but you can use it as a guide. It's like a blueprint of some of the different personality traits you can look for in people.
You're absolutely right, and that's why when you really break down your sign, you're supposed to get a whole astrological reading and figure out which house you're in and which star and which moon rising and all that stuff, and then you figure out the truth. But the book that I was going off of was just picking it from the week I was born and the week he was born. So for his week, of course, and my week of Gemini, it said you work well together, which we do, because he writes and produces, and he's a comedian. I'm not a comedian. You introduced me as a comedian, but he would hate to hear you say that because he's a stand-up comedian, and he takes it very, very seriously. Thank you. I'm a comedic actress, but I'm not a comedian.
It's different.
And so the stand-up comedians take that so personally, and it's so funny to me. So we work well together because I may produce one of his comedy shows and help him put things together, or he may write a script that I can help produce and then act in. So we do work really, really well together, as the Zodiac book said that we would. So the stuff is real. But, yeah, just being centered when you get to work, you can get along with everybody, and you can know who to spend less time with if you want to. You don't got to fake it and smile around somebody you don't like. You can go in your dressing room and eat your lunch. So.
Yeah, one of the books that really resonated to me when I was younger, because, before I had my magazine, I worked in the beauty industry for 20 years, and you might see 300 different people a week, and that's 300 different personalities, not to mention the people that you work with and their clients. And, you are taking in their clients' interview, too, because it's a close-knit environment. So I had probably, I don't know, maybe in my early 20s, had found this book called The 12 Black Zodiac signs or something. I could be saying the name of the book wrong. But it was like Black Sun Signs by Thelma something. I can't remember her name. But the Black Sun Signs. And I swore by this book because one of the cool things was it not only told you about the sign, it told you how to date them, how to raise them, what kind of parents they are, how to work with them, what kind of health issues they might have, what kind of foods that they need to stay away from, and like this, like bullet points on different things that you might notice as far as the content of their character. And I should probably know the name of this book. I used to swear by it like 10 years ago, but I still take a lot of it into effect. It's the Black Sun Signs. That's what it's called. Thelma, I don't know her last name, but Black Sun Signs.
I can find it. I wrote that down. I can find it. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's like $12. It was an amazing read, but I found that it saved me so much time in my work environment because I would meet somebody and I would be able to say, because, you know, in the beauty industry, if it's a client, it's different when you're on set. But if it's a client, you could be like, oh, okay, well, I would always do a consultation first. And I'm like, well, this ain't really working out for me, so I'm going to introduce you to somebody else I think can give you not only the style you want, but your personalities will mesh better. So I wouldn't just fire them. I would recommend them to somebody else. But
smart.
I would imagine that in a movie, though, sometimes a movie or a TV show or even like shows like this that you got 5 seasons in, it's no just like, okay, this isn't working for me, next. You element of yourself, especially if it's somebody that, like, on screen you have to have a very close relationship.
Yeah.
So I say all that just to say, how much does, like, somebody's personal relationship with you off screen affect your on-screen presence?
It's really hard to fake chemistry for sure, and that's why sometimes you can watch a movie and it'll be something kind of off about it, and then you read the article later that the 2 leading actresses who were playing best friends actually couldn't stand each other and, you know, stayed as far away from each other as they could until they yelled action. So you can kind of see that. And it's really hard to fake it. Even the best actresses sometimes have difficulty with it. But I guess we've been blessed on Family Time, especially that we all get along really well. And like Omar Gooding and I, our relationship is we're in-laws. He's my brother-in-law, and all I do is pick fun at him and bicker with him and come up with more nicknames to call him. I think this season I called him Kentucky Fried Drake. I say things like, hey, Heavy D, did you eat the boys? Things like that.
Yeah, I saw that clip. I died.
Thank you. So I think he gets on my nerves in real life because he's just obnoxious to me, but we love each other. But the obnoxiousness is perfect because I make fun of him all the time, and he makes fun of me all the time. He talks about me having hair on my face, you know, like a mustache and chin hair and stuff like that, and you know, he might say I'm wearing a wig and it's a Sugar Avery wig. Like, that works perfectly. So even though we don't hang out in real life, like, we hang out at the viewing parties. We might talk on the phone once a month or something, but we don't go to lunch. We're not buddies. We don't text each other and say, hey, boo, how's your Tuesday going? We don't do that. So the relationship that we have in real life is actually perfect for on camera. So, and I'm lucky enough that everybody gets along really well on set, from producers all the way down to production assistants. We're all really cool. When we have game nights at the house, you know, some of the production assistants and some of the actors will come to our house. I was just at Shanti Lowry's house last week because she had a little Christmas party over at her place. And so my husband and I, who are both on the show Family Time, went over to Shanti Lowry. And Shanti Lowry plays the bougie neighbor on the show. So we get along great, so I don't really have to have that, oh, my God, I hate coming to work, or I hate doing things with this person. So it's been a blessing for sure.
Well, I'm so grateful. It's been a blessing to me. So when I actually, for those of you who want to know how I actually ran into you here in Hollywood, I was checking up on Tiffany Haddish, who I love, an amazing comedian. She had a show, and we saw each other, and I just instantly was like, oh, this seems like a wonderful lady. I thought I already knew you, probably because I recognize you from Curb Your Enthusiasm. But you know how, like, if you see somebody on TV, you feel like it's somebody that's like a close friend or family member.
Yeah.
So I instantly felt like, oh, this is somebody I can rock with. So I feel like the whole world can rock with you. So tell the rest of the world who aren't here in Hollywood how they can rock with you and how they can follow your success and see some of the cool things that you got going on. How can they follow you?
Oh, well, first they have to know my name is spelled not like a fruit, but it's spelled Tanjareen. And once they type that in any search engine or any social media site, they will get me, because there are, a lot of people that spell Tanjareen that way. But I'm on Twitter as @Tanjareen. I'm on Snapchat @Tanjareen. I'm on YouTube and Vimeo @Tanjareen. But on Instagram and my second Facebook page, they're official Tanjareen, because the other Tanjareen was taken by me on Facebook. I had to have 2 pages because I got full. But, I reply to most of my tweets, my Instagrams, or at least I'll hit the little like button for it. I love talking to people who support the shows and movies that I'm in, and I'm just very, very active. I'm very technically savvy. I have Tanjareen.com as the website. You can also go there and post a comment in the guest book and, tell me hi, tell me you heard me or saw me or read about me on TNE Magazine. And, I'm all over the internet, just @Tanjareen.
That's right, guys. You heard it here, TNE Magazine. Tanjareen, thank you so much for your time, guys. All the things that you mentioned will be in the description below. Check her out in this January No Limit New Year's issue. And we look forward to you checking in with us next month and the months to come. So stay tuned and hit that subscribe button so that you never, ever miss another interview